Live stream, baby. Good morning and aloha, everybody. Welcome back to We Wish You Well. We, the usual suspects, as always. Danny Summer, here I am. By the way, my backdrop is not fake. This is my yard, in case you're wondering. I live in an orchard, and those are my fruit trees. We talk about it every time before we get on this, but I wanted to make that clear that this is real. Um, we have Miss Ruby Ramos, who has a new lipstick and looks absolutely gorgeous today. And Mr. Gordon Chavez, same bald head with repping the O, which we love, because
Right.
all
Gotta
from
rip my
there,
city.
outside till we die, right?
And I don't have new lipstick.
Oh, but that's okay.
Maybe next
I mean,
maybe next
you might
time.
look good with it though. You might.
I'll have to compete with Ruby next time, maybe. We'll see.
Okay. We're gonna see what color he busts out for sure. Unfortunately, we had to miss you guys last week because I had a gnarly dentist appointment. So we wanted to join you this week to make sure that you got, the amount of episodes that we say we're giving to you in a month. Regularly, we will be back the second and fourth Thursday of every month. So please don't forget to join us. As it is our goal to provide you with financial education, increase your financial literacy, and just kind of answer any questions that you may have and guide and assist you into gaining the financial freedom that you are seeking because that's what we all want, right? Um,
Right.
so today, because there is a lot of controversy as to life insurance, because we are life insurance agents and we love what we do and, giving people peace of mind and security. However, there is a lot of controversy that life insurance is too expensive. A lot of people believe that the life insurance they get from their job is sufficient when it's not. And the main thing is that index universal life, which we focus on so much, is a scam. And boy, oh boy, there's a lot to get into with that. So, what we are going to do is just kind of show you, based on a 30, 40, and 50-year-old, the amount of premium, how much coverage you could get, and then a properly versus an improperly structured indexed universal life insurance policy. Your focus on those could be how much you could take as a loan in the first couple of years. Obviously, if your cash accumulation is your goal, you're going to want the minimum amount of death benefit for the maximum amount of cash value. Or if you wanted to supplement your retirement income and wanted a specific amount of retirement income, we are able to show you how much that would be and how that could properly be structured for you as well, along with being able to still take loans off of your policy for other investments into assets that will gain you, financial freedom. So, um, do you guys have anything to add to that or any questions moving forward? I'm hoping that, maybe there are some people, if people are in the chat and have questions, or if they want a policy design for them at the moment, we could do it on the spot. We have the information available. Um, you know what I mean? So this is kind of like we're here for you right now. If you're watching. Maybe there are some people, but you know, we're gonna have fun with this today because, like I said, the controversy around, especially the index universal life, is something that people really need to understand. So we'll get into that eventually, but I just kind of wanted to segue into the cost effectiveness of a term policy and let you know that there are return of premium policies, meaning that, if you pay your premiums and your term, you get your term for 10 or 15, 20 years, and you don't happen to pass away in that time frame, all of the money that you put into that policy is paid back to you. That's a return of premium policy. We're not necessarily working with that kind of company today. However, it is an option. And you also have the option, even though your premiums will increase after, you can convert your term policy to a permanent policy, as long as it is done before the end of that term period. So, there are multiple options. We together work with multiple companies that offer both. So it's not like we're just captive agents who only have one option to give to you guys. We have multiple options to kind of research, and based on whatever your goals are, we are more than happy to, and we ask the questions that are meant to be asked in order to make sure that we are serving you as our clients appropriately for you to feel, one, safe with us, to trust us, and to know, and build a relationship with you guys. And so that, you feel confident in the decision that you're making when purchasing a life policy. So with that being said, anything to add before I go on?
I think you're good. I think you presented everything well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So I believe we're going to start, and let me go ahead and share my screen with you, because we're going to start with some term and some amounts of how much coverage, $50 or $100 could get. And we said specific ages, right? So we'll start with, start with age 30. And we always run these illustrations at standard non-tobacco. I forgot to turn off my my microphone, so it's recording. Let's see. What was that, 90? No. We would do 94. For a 30-year-old. Okay. And then we'll go here. And we're doing this based out of the state of California just because that's where my initial license was. However, we're going to specify for the premium amount at a monthly payment. And this is for a term policy. We'll change this to 30 years just to give you an idea. And if we go here, so for $50 a month for a 30-year-old, you could get $913,305 worth of coverage for 10 years. That's good for $50 a month, right? If we take it, we'll skip 15. If we take it to 20, 601,445, and 30 years, 330,996. But $50 a month, like, as we've discussed before, people spend $50 a day in the bar, or you know what I mean? It's like, I'm done with work, I'm going to happy hour, drinks are on me, but you can't afford $50 for almost, $1 million worth of coverage. It doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I'm saying? And annual renewable term, so do you guys want to kind of touch base on why we don't necessarily recommend annual renewable term? Because, as you can see, the cost annually just increases. So we don't want your cost or fees to go up on your policy. We want them to stay the same for the amount of time that you have allotted or selected to have that policy for. We don't want to be like, why am I paying more now? You know what I mean? So yeah, I just don't, and I've been thinking a lot about this. It's like, how are so many people walking around without proper life insurance coverage, knowing, that tomorrow isn't promised? When you can pay $50 for a 30-year-old male and get almost $1 million worth of coverage. You know what I mean? Like the
And
math,
probably more
the
for a
math isn't
female.
mathing. Huh?
And it would probably be more for a female because cost of insurance is cheaper for women.
Right. So if we go back to the death benefit and funding or the client information, let's change it to a female and see what $50 would get her at that time. So it was at 918. Oh,
There you go.
well, imagine that for 10 years, you get over $1 million worth of coverage at $50 a month for a 30-year-old female. And I hate to break this to you guys, but it's because you guys are a little bit more clumsy. You're more willing to do a little bit more risky activities than females are. I think we're a little bit more conservative when it comes to, I give my my fiance a hard time all the time because he's always climbing on a ladder. He works on the roof because he does solar, and I'm like, bro, you need life insurance like now, today, Junior, because you make me nervous every time that you are doing anything because he's just a man's man and a man's man does man things. And sometimes man things are really dangerous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, yes, we need coverage for you. And he's like, yes, I believe that wholeheartedly, 100%. So, you know,
Yeah.
um,
I always think about this whenever I see somebody who has lost a family member, lost a loved one, and there's a GoFundMe or there's a car wash or having to maybe sell tamales or food type stuff in front of the Walmart or something like that because of the expenses, the debt, or even if there's no debt, just the you just lost that income if that person was generating income for the household.
right.
And if you could prevent all of that for $50 a month, I mean,
It's
I know life insurance sounds boring and everything, but
right.
man, I mean, how much do people pay insurance for their iPhones, but not
Yeah.
for themselves,
And their car
and
and
their
their
car,
house
right?
and renter's insurance and everything else.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you pay a bunch of money for all of these things that are material things, but you are your biggest asset. You know what I mean? And you are cherished by your family, and especially if you're the breadwinner and you're providing for your wife and your children or your husband or whatever it may be, or your parents. A lot of people take care of their parents, God forbid, anything were to happen to you, um what are they going to do? And 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 I don't want to like say this in a condescending or like rude way, but a lot of people feel like you know GoFundMe's are people begging for money because they weren't prepared,
mm,
because a lot of things happen unexpectedly, medical diagnoses, funerals and funding for that. It's like, would you rather just know that you have the means to take care of the services for a loved one that has passed away, and be able to grieve appropriately by spending $50 a month, or know that your family can grieve appropriately by spending $50 a month, as opposed to them having to wait weeks on end, wanting to give you proper service, but also stressing out, like you said, about fundraising and all of these other things. And it's just kind of like, how how does this not make sense? You know?
yeah. And another thing that you mentioned was medical diagnosis. Like these policies, this one that we're looking at on the screen right now offers living benefits. It includes living benefits, I should say, not offering. It
Like,
includes living benefits.
yeah,
So you don't have to die to use it.
right,
It covers or it helps with expenses for things like cancer, stroke, heart attack, things like that. So, I mean, if the person that's covered by this policy becomes ill and they can't continue going to work or they need to go to treatment or they need some time off, you're good
right,
there too.
right. Yeah, they just accelerate your death benefit and they cut you a check so that you can, pay for those medical expenses. Coma, paralysis is added to that.
Mm.
Blindness, not being able to perform two of the six daily living activities. They added Alzheimer's to this. And they have something for now pregnant women who are pregnant or whatever it may be, like post labor. I'm not sure of that one, but there's something and it's all contractually stated. It's not an
Mhm.
extra fee to add that to the policy. You know what I mean? And which is why I love life insurance with living benefits because you never know. You never know. You
Mm.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
for
so
50 bucks a month.
right. So that was for a
I
third.
did want to add,
Mhm.
sorry, I wanted to add the 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 privilege that we have with the internet and social media now because some people never even knew that life insurance existed or that these options exist.
Right.
So
Yeah,
now
because
we're in this new era.
everybody thinks life insurance is only for death, passing away.
Yeah. So now that we're in this new era where we have social media and all of these things, like many people are starting to learn about this
Mhm.
and it's kind of like, why not get it? Now
Exactly.
there's kind of like no excuse for you to not understand the value of a life insurance policy.
Right.
And then this also, I feel, for example, single mothers that their kids are still young
Hmm.
and they are the main provider for those children. Um, Having something like this that's it's not expensive, very inexpensive. It's also
Hmm.
something that they can put into their life and it's an act of love. We call life insurance an
Mm.
act of love.
Right.
So I feel um that this information and anything that comes with these policies are very valuable and can bring so much into somebody's life.
Hmm.
With the whole GoFund and Kermeses, it's a struggle. It's hard. Um, Maybe back in the days, it was a little bit, I don't know, because I feel like this new era is kind of like, oh, we kind of don't want to do that anymore. We kind of don't want to do the whole selling
Right.
the tamales,
Of
and
fundraising.
it's
Yeah.
yeah. Our parents probably were okay doing that, and we are grateful for all the people that come together and help us in positions like that because we didn't understand the value of a life insurance policy, but still it's something that we can take into consideration and something super super important to have.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, as we know, so the cost of insurance is affected by your age, your health, and your gender, which we were discussing. Men are a little bit more on the risky side than women, which is why women, their cost gets you a little bit more coverage. I'm not going to be climbing a ladder on a roof anytime soon. One, only because I'm afraid of heights. Catch me on a roller coaster, you're lucky, okay? But so those are the things that affect the cost of insurance, your age, health, and gender, which is also why we recommend that you get life insurance when you're young and healthy. Because your table rating, if you already have a policy, even if it's a term policy, you can keep the same table rating, even if your health diagnosis has changed over time. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
so there are instances where, if you become diagnosed with, heart disease or, get cancer or something medically has happened to you, you put yourself more at risk of becoming uninsurable. or not being able to receive the amount of coverage that you want because maybe you're only able to get like a guaranteed issue or, a modified whole life policy or whatever it may be. And they may potentially take away some of the living benefits that are offered to you contractually at no extra cost based on whatever that diagnosis is. So even though, yeah, we all think I'm young, I'm healthy, I'm not going to die tomorrow, you never know. You know what I mean? So it's always better to plan ahead and, maybe guarantee yourself insurability in a non-insurable event that could completely change your insurability in the future. So I did kind of change the numbers. So this is for a 40-year-old female, still $50 a month. And I mean, granted, the 30-year-old was over $1 million. This is still for $50. It's an amazing amount of coverage for a minimal expense. So I just kind of wanted to show the value in that. And I know, Ruby, you had a question. You wanted to see, because with a term policy, and I don't know if you're planning on buying a house, but if you are, congratulations. But life insurance also offers mortgage protection. And so, I live in Hawaii. They're in California, which is where I grew up, Southern California. All of the houses are over $1 million, right? So let's say you had paid a certain amount on your house and you're the breadwinner, you're paying the mortgage, and God forbid something happened to you. What amount would you feel comfortable with having put into a a term, let's say a 30-year term policy? And let's just figure out how much that would cost you for a house in California. Do you have a number? I think is it what?
I don't know. We could do, I mean, $1 million policy sounds great. But if I were to put in money already down, or who knows, whatever, um, I think we could do, let's say, $750,000 to protect my mortgage and have my, yeah,
750?
yeah.
And let's go back over here. How old are you, Ruby?
Don't ask that. She's
Oh, she's
she's
29.
17, I think.
She's 25. We'll just call you 30 for today. Because you look like a baby. It's the new lipstick, I swear.
It's the lipstick. Gotta be the lipstick.
All right. So if we put this in at 750,000, and this is going to a monthly payment, I put it at 30 years, as you can see. So we're going to get all of them, right? Let's just see for the duration of the time. Wow. $33.66 for $750,000 worth of coverage. That's impressive. Like, that's really good. If you don't have $33.66 to protect your mortgage, your wife, and your children from losing your house, then we've got other things that we need to talk about. We need to do a spreadsheet with you. We need to see where you're overspending. We need to figure out all kinds of things in order to make sure that, that your family is safe and secure in the event of you, one, becoming ill, or passing away. And for that amount, that's incredible. And you can get it for 30 years for less than $100, $81.18. I don't know why, but that number together looks really cool to me right now.
Magic number.
It's what do you call those? The ones that go forwards and backwards? Onomatopoeia? No,
I can't remember what it's called.
I can't either.
I know what
Anywho,
you're talking about though.
yeah. So anyways, but that looks good. You know what I mean? I would pay $81.18 for that amount of coverage for my house. But on top of that, what was it that we needed to address? Oh, because probate, just a will is a wish, right? A will means pretty much absolutely nothing. It is a wish that you have that your assets are designated to your family in the event of your passing the way that you want them to be. However, if your family does not have the money to be able to pay for your house, your car, whatever it may be, it has the potential to be seized by the government in probate court or and lawyers, you know. So, what is it that we recommend once you get a policy if you have mortgage protection? Living trust, right? Yeah. And I mean, even if you have assets in general, and even if you're not married, whatever it may be, a living trust is where all of anything that you own should go, right?
Hmm.
Um, and I believe that I don't know, do you guys recall what the prices are for single people or married people? That's only like $1,000 more or less from each other.
For the trust you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I can't remember.
like 17
There's
and
different
18 or
factors that go
18 and 19.
into.
Right. So yeah, but you would put, so like, then you would put your life insurance policy under the beneficiary under the name of the living trust. And then you could potentially designate, so let's say you did have the 750,000, but you didn't owe that much on your mortgage anymore. You know what I mean? So you could designate the amount to be put to the mortgage, and then you could designate a certain amount for your, cremation or funeral services, a certain amount to your spouse, a certain amount to your children, and then leave the remaining amount in the trust, for, let's say you have young children. I know Ruby has young children. And, you could say, hey, you get this amount of money when you're 18 or 25 or 30, God, whatever you want, because it's in that living trust. And then, you have to invest it in to this asset or this business or your own business or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? And this is the process of kind of creating that generational wealth um, by utilizing everything appropriately together. um, you can really change the narrative because, we're all minorities. We can really change the narrative for our families and our children and their future by utilizing these things appropriately.
Hmm. Yeah, and as things start to change, you mentioned it earlier, you can convert this to a permanent policy,
Mhm.
and you have that way you don't have to only be covered for, 10, 20, 30 years. You can have it longer than that. You can have it for the rest of your life.
Right. And that, yeah. And I mean, well, obviously, we recommend permanent coverage just based on the fact that we don't want your costs and fees to increase. You know what I mean? And I mean, we'll get into that here in just a moment, but with some policies, you have the flexibility to either increase or decrease your premium as you choose. So if life is life in and unexpected things happen, um, you know, you have the ability to pay what you can, or, and we'll get into this in a moment, there is a minimum monthly payment just to keep your policy open, and it's minimal. But you may not be earning any interest. However, at least your policy isn't going to lapse and your policy remains open for you to still receive those living benefits and, God forbid, the death benefit unexpectedly to your loved ones. So, um, yeah, that was fun.
It's a lot for term, huh?
Yeah. But I mean, there's so many different ways to look at it, in which a lot of people, like I said, we don't know what we don't know.
Hmm.
Um, but now for the bread and butter, uh, our most favorite thing in the world, indexed universal life. What do you guys, let's first start. Why should somebody consider an indexed universal life insurance policy?
Lots of benefits.
Yep. Valuable. What is the value of
Lots of value. Yeah. Yeah.
it?
Well, for one, compared to a term, it's permanent, right? If you set it up correctly and you pay your premiums correctly, you'll have it for the rest of your life. And you don't have to necessarily pay every month for the rest of your life. You can stop the payments at some point, depending on how you set it up.
Right.
I would want to say also tax-free retirement income.
Mhm.
And then leverage and
Leverage.
liquidity.
Yes, ma'am.
The two L's.
The two L's. Liquidity and leverage.
What do you
It's
mean by
it's a love
liquidity and
affair.
leverage, Ruby?
Sorry, I keep muting myself because I have my son with me.
I,
And
I was just saying, what do you mean by leverage and liquidity?
um well, what I mean is with liquidity, we have access. So you will have access to your money that's sitting in your cash value account that comes with your life insurance policy.
Mhm.
So when you get one of these policies, you get a cash value account.
Yes.
Nice.
And the principal is protected because they have a 0% floor. So your money just continues to earn an uninterrupted compound interest, even when the market is doing bad, as long as your index allocations are set up appropriately for that market year.
There you go. So it's a lot of technical terminology.
Yeah.
So the
They're
cash
very
value,
intricate, to
yeah.
say the least. They're complex, and it takes a lot to fully understand. I think I was joking around with somebody. It took me 5 times to explain an IUL to my fiance. Like, I was like, bro, are you ever gonna get it? And he's like, and he's like, there's so many words I don't understand. And I'm like, and then when you finally see the light bulb go off, it's like, thank goodness. Because,
Mhm.
you gotta break, they're so complex and there's so much involved with them. Like, you really have to break it down for people to understand.
Yeah. And it's not common knowledge. It's not something that everybody talks about. People say things like, probably your most well-known retirement plan is a 401k. You say 401k and everybody's okay. At least I've heard of it. You say I
Hmm.
well and people are like, huh? Like I what?
Right.
You owe me what? I hope you're well. What'd you say? And I actually, so I recently explained it to somebody like this. I recently said, I said, it's a life insurance policy where instead of getting a high death benefit, you get the lowest amount of benefit so
Right.
that your monthly premium is lower, but then you overfund it. You put more money into it. And
Right.
the excess funds that after the cost of that low death benefit, the excess funds every month go into the cash value account. And then that cash value account earns interest depending on the stock market.
Hmm.
But it can be really hard to explain. And so one thing that I've also compared it to is, have you guys ever heard of HSAs? I think they're called HSL, health savings accounts or something like that.
High yield savings account?
No, no, it has to do with your health insurance. And so if
Oh,
your health insurance, so for example, if you have health insurance through like Aetna or something like that, or what's the other one? I forget the other companies, but they offer this account where you can put money into it. And I want to say it's pre-tax dollars, or at least you get tax benefits to it. I think I could be wrong. But basically, you put money into this account, and then if something happens and you become sick, you have this extra pot of money in the savings, I guess a savings account, I guess you could call it. And it comes in handy when, maybe unexpected illnesses happen, or doctor visits, or hospital visits, or whatever. And
right.
so it's basically you have health insurance, and then you also have this extra account that's growing at the same time
Okay.
within your health insurance policy. And so with life insurance, you have life insurance, and you pay hopefully you get the cost down as low as possible, right? For the life insurance part. But then they give you, like Rurit said, they give you this cash value account that will earn interest based on the market.
Yeah. Yeah. So, based on the fact that you said, you want the minimum amount of death benefit in order to accumulate that cash value of that account, I personally, and I don't know if you guys have experienced this, there are a lot of life insurance agents on social media posting, about indexed universal life. However, they're giving their clients wrong information, and they're working their clients, and they're utilizing their friends and their family, and they're lying to them, which really grinds my gears, we're gonna say. To keep it PC. But I have had a client recently that told me that they could not get a death benefit lower than $300,000. One that told me that they couldn't get one lower than $650,000, and then the last one was $800,000. And it's like, because when you're purchasing an IUL, you're purchasing a product, and the product that you're purchasing is the death benefit. However, if cash accumulation is your goal, like Gordon said, you want the least amount of death benefit for the maximum amount of cash accumulation. So why are these agents telling people that they can't get a death benefit lower than what the numbers that I stated, when literally your death benefit should be anywhere between $100,000 and $200,000, depending on your premium and your age? No higher than that. There is no company that their minimum face amount is over $100,000. Unless you're a juvenile, you could go to 50,000. You know what I mean? You can do that. Or, based on if your premium is lower, you may potentially be able to do so, but that's all dependent on the company. But the fact that I'm hearing agents tell people that they can't get a death benefit, especially the $800,000, blew my mind. It's like, no wonder people think IUL is a scam. It's not the IUL as a product that's the scam. It's the agent who's writing the policy, because they don't know what they don't know. They were taught by whoever they were taught, and they don't know any better. You know what I mean? And it's sad, because a lot of people think that they're getting ripped off, which is why we're here to make
I
sure
like that pose right there. I like that. That was good.
we're here
Put a
because
star behind you.
our mentor, what a man he is. He has taught us appropriately. There are a lot of terms that, then a lot of questions that need to be asked to your life insurance agent when they're, discussing your policy with you. The first one being, is this the minimum amount of death benefit that I can possibly have? And if they can't answer that, I'd advise that you run, and you run as fast as possible,
Or if they say 800,000 is the minimum.
right? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Just to explain to the audience right here. So you said earlier that life insurance is a product. It's a product. You're purchasing a death benefit. You're paying into this policy per month or per year, whatever, so that a loved one, hopefully a loved one, can get this death benefit when you pass away. And the cost of the insurance is going to depend on your age, your gender, your health, but lastly, and maybe even more importantly, the amount of death benefit.
Correct.
And so if you get a lot of death benefit, guess how much commission the agent gets?
A lot more.
More commission. And so if an agent is motivated to sell more death benefit, you might want to question, why they're selling it. If it's something that's in alignment with your goals, great. Like, we can adjust these. We can add more death benefit if that's what's needed, and still keep the cost down as low as possible. But if right out the gate they're saying you have to have 300, 600, 800, whatever, then it's just a red flag. It's like, well, why are they trying to sell me so much death benefit? Because generally speaking, depending on how they do it, they're going to get a higher commission at the higher death benefits.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, with that being said, it's like, where's the integrity of the agent at that point? Like, how do you sleep at night knowing that you're just ripping people off? Like it's like you're already helping yourself because you have a client, and I've become friends with a lot of my clients over the years. But, because you're giving us all of your personal information. I know all about your life. I'm trying to figure out what it is that you're trying to achieve. But at the end of the day, like if I was to sell somebody something that I know that they didn't need just because I wanted to make extra money, like I would feel so guilty about that. And it just like it breaks my heart that people feel like, there's like I said, there's so much that IUL is a scam and life insurance is a scam. And it's because of the fact that people are ripping people off because they know they can and they're not educating their clients appropriately with these products that are so intricate and so complex, and really taking the time and spending the time with them to make them understand how they work before they sign on that dotted line. And then they feel trapped. So,
Mhm.
so we are going to show you, and it ask questions. Make sure that your agent, if you're meeting with them on Zoom, make them do an illustration in front of you. You want to understand your policy design and structure, your cost and fees, how it's performed, and how what Ruby said, liquidity, how soon, how often, and how much liquidity and leverage you have on your policy. Those are the four main things that they should be understand or able to explain to you. And especially when it comes to cost and fees and policy design and structure, if they can't do it, red flag, run for the hills, run away. We're laying it on the table today because I honestly, like I said, it's grinding my gears that I'm getting approached by so many people with improperly structured policies.
Some life insurance agents, as you already said, just don't know. They're just not trained well enough or properly trained or educated enough, or they're new. They're just getting started maybe. And then
Right.
some of them, they know exactly what they're doing, and
Oh yeah.
they don't like this video, but it is what
No.
it is.
Well, we're out to get you.
Watch
This
that.
needs war,
People ruffled Danny's feathers.
right? So, if you happen to have an IUL or if you're in the market for an IUL, pay attention to this. I mean, the production of an illustration is fairly simple. Obviously there's multiple different ways that you could do it. But we're just going to do it as a minimum death benefit, max cash value. I'll utilize my own information. I am a 35-year-old, obviously female. We'll do it based out of California just because. That's Oceanside where these two are, my hometown, which I miss and I can't wait to visit and see you guys. But yeah, we're just gonna run some numbers and we'll show you. We will show you how this is supposed to look, and then we'll get into some of the vocabulary and how you guys know that your policy was structured appropriately. So I will go ahead and share my screen again.
Sharing is caring.
It is, and I love it.
We're sharing because we care.
We'll put my name as Mary, last name Jane. No.
I heard of her.
Hey, it's almost 420, right?
Oh
Yeah.
my
Oh,
gosh.
see? I'm good. I'm good. If in case anybody wants to remember when my birthday is, this is it. Send
Right?
flowers. No, I'm just kidding.
1930, huh?
Oh
Dang,
wait, that's not right.
you look really young.
What they say, black don't crack.
Oh,
Don't worry, I'm not.
I'm not gonna respond to that.
All right. All right. So coming to this screen right here, their minimum face amount for this company is 100,000. So if we did none, let's say a lot of times we see people leave the death benefit level. We're gonna say age 66 because that's retirement, right? We'll do this monthly. Um, Still solving for none. Through. Whoops. Because there's so many different ways to do this, right?
Oh yeah, very customizable.
Oh yeah, which is complicated. So
Hmm.
we solved for a target premium. There's no lapse. There's a non-MEC, which is a MEC is a modified endowment contract, meaning that your cash accumulation is going to be taxed, right? However, if you see here in year 1, we've got zeros. Year 2, we have zeros. And since we solve for a target, minimum premium is $480.48 at $100,000 worth of death benefit level all the way through age 65, right?
And that's
Then
per year, not per month, correct?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we take 480.48, I'll do it real quick on my phone. If I can find it.
Hmm.
480.48 divided by 12. Whoops.
$40 a month.
Yeah, $40 a month. So, I mean, it is what it is. And, even though I have $100,000 worth of death benefit and I have an accumulated value of 573, the agent got paid on this policy off of $1,021, right? So yeah, it looks good, right? No, because what do we not
Oh,
want?
we don't want any zeros. We need some cash value.
We need cash. Yeah. So let's go back. And this is what we do. We play with these numbers. You can do a balanced death benefit. However, appropriately structured policy is going to be minimum death benefit, max cash value. Okay. We want an increasing to level death benefit with a maximum face amount reduction because that's how we know that we are getting the least amount of insurance. Again, we are buying a product. The product is the death benefit. If cash accumulation is your goal, you do not want a high death benefit, right? And we can have multiple policies, right? We can have a term policy for that mortgage protection, and we can have a policy that we want to have accumulate cash, and we can have as many of these as we want with multiple different companies if we wanted to. You know what I mean? None of them have to replace each other. As long as all of your financial goals are being met, that's what we want. You know what I mean? So we're gonna go to specify an amount because did I do it for a 30-year-old or me?
35.
35. All right. So we're going to put this at monthly and we're going to do $400 a month because we recommend 10 times your age. So I'm just going to go a little bit higher. 1 through, let's see, since I'm 35, we'll fund it to year 30, which will still be age 65. But let's see. Guideline level premium is perfect. And we'll get into that in just a moment. But if we come over here, wow, look at the difference in those numbers. My accumulated value is $3,500 more than what it was in the last illustration. And there is literally over $2,000 more in my first 2 years because we had zeros over here, right? My death benefit was a level 100,000. It started at 114,542. This is the least amount of death benefit. I also have no lapse, non-MEC, and a target premium of 1,126.54, which is just above the one before. But look at the difference in the values of these accounts. You know what I mean? I had zeros for 2 years and only $500 in my accumulated value because I based it off of a target premium as opposed to minimum death benefit, max cash value. So, and I mean, there's so many other ways to run this, right? But let's just say I'm looking for, also want to know how much lifetime income I can receive off of this policy. Let's see. Oh,
Yeah, you don't have to change that. That's already set.
I know, but it says calculations unavailable.
It's thinking.
It's thinking. Option change.
Oh, you gotta add you gotta change that and add a level. Or just change it to M to
There we go. Perfect. So that would guarantee me, by funding this policy with $400 a month for 30 years, that would guarantee me $25,713 worth of lifetime income until the day that I die,
Mhm.
which is good. And I mean, even if we look at year 5, which, let's see, if we take 4,800 times 5, even though I fund in the policy at year 5, only $4,800, or no, $24,000, sorry. Even my accumulated value, yes, is less than what I have funded the policy based on the fact that I'm paying costs and fees. But
You freezing up, Danny? I think Danny's frozen.
let this policy grow. This is the number that you have tax free.
You're
And
freezing
this
up.
is what, oh,
Say it again. Start over with the 23,000.
so based on my premium after year 5, I funded this policy with $24,000. And you may think that you've taken a loss because your account accumulated value is only at 23,648, right? But even though your account or accumulated value is at 23,648, it's because you're buying a product and you're paying costs and fees, right? However, this number continues to earn an uninterrupted compound interest. And after 5 years, you would have the ability to take a loan 100% tax free, no minimum monthly payments, no credit checks, nothing like that, of $22,053. And you can use that to invest in other assets. So actually, in reality, even though you paid the 24,000 at year 5, you have, let's say, 40, we're going to say $46,000 working in your favor. As long as you're utilizing the loans that you're taking off of this policy to gain financial freedom and earn, and invest in assets that are going to make you that passive income that you can utilize then when you're utilizing your passive income that you are investing in, this money into, then, you're gaining that financial freedom and you're utilizing those assets to purchase your liabilities. That's the goal. That's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, you explained it just right. So if you have the 23,600 and your accumulated value earning interest based on market performance, you still have an extra 22,000 that you could say you could invest in real estate, or you could do whatever. You could invest in crypto. You could put that money into another something asset, as you said, versus a liability that's going to earn interest. So
Right.
at this point, you said you put in 24,000. Is that what you said?
Yeah. For
And
5 years.
you have 46,000 earning interest for you.
Right. As long because this money, when the market performs, you earn interest. But this, even when you take a loan off of your policy, this amount continues to earn uninterrupted compound interest. This does not change. They simply utilize your death benefit as collateral. So the loan that you take off of this 22,000 actually doesn't come from your accumulated value. It comes from the life insurance policy. And that's OPM, baby, other people's money. You're using other people's money to make you money. And you don't necessarily, as long as it's properly structured, you don't have to pay that loan back. And God forbid, in the event of your passing, if the loan hadn't been paid back in full, they just simply deduct that from the death benefit of your policy.
I believe Rubit has a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I do. I have a question and then I'm sure many other people ask themselves the same thing because, like, we were talking about how they think permanent life insurance or IULs are a scam.
Mm-hmm.
The question will be, so let's say I don't borrow against my policy.
Mm-hmm.
You're muted, Rubit.
Oh,
There
sorry.
she goes.
Okay, so let's say I don't borrow against my policy because I'm waiting, let's say, for retirement. But the thing is that I pass away by the age of 64, probably a year before I start retiring. How
Mm-hmm.
much money does my family get if I were to pass away?
What do
If
you
like if I've been funding this account for the past like 30 years.
for 30
So,
years?
so how much death benefit does my family get if I were to pass away?
So give me just 1 second. So right here at age 64, it
Mhm.
says your death benefit is 480,000 and 303, right?
That's
80.
it.
Yeah. So, and the reason why I ask is because they say, I mean, there are policies like that. I get where they're coming from,
Mm-hmm.
but they say like, my family will only get either the death benefit or either the cash value. They won't get both.
Right. So what happens? So your death benefit right here, right, is 480,303. The difference between 480,303 and 369.66 is $144,000. So you get this premium. That's the amount of premium for the 30 years that you put into the policy. So you get the amount of premium, but there's the accumulated value. So your death benefit is your premium plus your accumulated value. So you get all of your money back.
Yeah.
Don't get the accumulated value, but you get the amount of premium that was put into the policy for that 30 years, which is the difference between your death benefit and your cash value is the total death benefit. So the premium plus the accumulated value is your death benefit. So yes, you are getting your money back. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, there is a lot of confusion, but when you do the math is mathin because 480,303 minus 144 is 369,966. So that's the total amount of premium and the death benefit together. So yes, you are getting your money back.
So to everybody that is questioning, it's because I feel like there is a lot of controversial when it comes to this, and then and
Mm-hmm.
and just so people are aware when with these policies like IULs, this is why we focus and why we like helping people with IULs and giving them the education and all of this type of information and why we think that this is such a great product, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's there, the numbers are there, they don't lie. And I feel making sure that you sit down and with your agent, whoever you're about to purchase an IUL, this is something for sure that you need to do with your agent, and so that you can see yourself.
Right. And there are, let me find the page. There are some more intricacies that need to be discussed, which we may potentially have to come into on another episode, because I know that we are running out of time. But your main thing that you want to focus on to know that your policy is fully max funded is the guideline level premium. I'm just going to say that one thing. If your annual premium and your guideline level premium are not the same, and your guideline level premium is double or triple what your annual premium is, you are not fully max funding your policy, and it was not properly structured. We will get into the max non-max premiums, guideline single premiums, target premiums, minimum monthly premiums, all of that stuff in another day, because like I said, these are very complex, and you can overfund your policy without it becoming a modified endowment contract, but you need to understand how your 7-pay or your max non-max premium needs to be divided by your guideline single premium, and all of these things for how long you can overfund that policy. Like, it's difficult. There's a lot going on. So with that being said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I hope that, we answered any questions that anybody may have had. That was fun. Do you guys have anything to add to the information? Thank you, by the way, Ruby, for that last comment. I hope that, or question, I hope that, based on the amount of premium that you paid, it does by saying it doesn't make sense to fund the policy when I'm not getting what I paid and the death benefit, but can you see how you were? I think you're,
Mhm.
I think you're muted, girl.
100%. I was just saying 100%.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah, because a lot of people think that you don't get your premium back, but obviously the proof is in the pudding. If that's what you contributed, yes, you don't get your cash accumulation value, but your premium is included in your death benefit. So that's how they determine that.
Well, so you do. So your death benefit is your cash accumulation plus the insurance that you purchase. So you're getting both. It's just already included in the death benefit number.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
So basically, no, regardless of how much you put in, if it's set up correctly, you're going to get more out than what you put in.
Right. Yeah. So, oh, life insurance. Gotta love it. But yeah, do you guys have any other questions? Like I said, I know that there's a whole lot more terminology, vocabulary, guideline level premium, single premium, 7-pay, max, modified endowment contracts, minimum monthly payment, maximum monthly payments, loan options. There's a plethora of things that are, included with understanding fully how these policies work. Do you guys have anything for the basics as to what people should be looking for? We went over the 4 tenets, the main 4 things. Do you guys have anything to add that they should potentially be looking for when, when they're considering, or if they have a policy already? And, how to potentially find those. One, we know we don't want zeros in the first couple of years. If you have a level death benefit, that's one. Or a death benefit higher than $100,000 to $200,000 based on your age and your premium. But other than that, what else? Oh, guideline level premium. uh, yeah, there's a lot.
I would just like to add to feel free to reach out to us with any questions. Like, just in general, we are here to help and answer the questions and be a resource to you guys.
Yeah, all of our That's another thing too that I've heard that I'd like to share is that I've heard about a lot of people being charged for their services. Us as life insurance agents, we are commission based. Okay. We are not to be charging you money for policy reviews or making your illustrations or getting together with you on Zoom. Hello. Any of that. All of our services are comprehensive. Our meetings are complimentary, everything. Our only goal is to educate you appropriately to ensure that you feel comfortable with the product that you are purchasing and make sure that you are educated fully before you make this financial decision because it is a big deal. And it is, like we've said multiple times, very complex, very intricate. And we don't want you to feel as though you've made the wrong decision, especially when it comes to your financial future, your family and, gaining the financial freedom or whatever it is, your investments, your assets, your life. We want to guide you in the appropriate direction. And we're on a mission. We're not here for a commission. We would just like to remind you of that.
Mm.
So yeah, with that being said, anything else?
We're
I think
good.
that was pretty good. Good breakdown. Cost effectiveness, to cost of term policies. Yes, an IUL can be started at less than 10 times your age, but if you're looking to accumulate cash, that's the recommendation. Properly structured, improperly structured. Now you know how we can fool you if we were hooligans, but even
Mm.
though we're from the hood, we're not hooligans. We're down, we're down for our peeps.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you guys are satisfied, we're having a special guest next week. I know that, and we haven't talked much on this topic, but the Bitcoin halving is, what's the date? Tomorrow?
What's
Tomorrow
the
is
date?
Saturday. Tomorrow is Saturday. There is a Bitcoin halving happening, and we have not yet had a crypto consultant come join us. And unfortunately, we were supposed to have him on today, but he's on vacation, of course. So we are having him join us next week. Basic crypto information, hot wallets, cold wallets, blockchains, what to, potentially what to invest in, what not to, what is Bitcoin having, why is it so important, why is Bitcoin the future. There's going to be a lot of information that he's going to provide us. I trust him. He's very informative, very educated, and I think that he is doing very well with whatever he's doing with Bitcoin. So why would we not trust him? You know what I mean? So we will gladly have him on next week based on the fact that we missed last week because of my dental issues. But yeah, so you guys get us 2 weeks in a row. And we look forward to having you back. Until then, thank you for joining. We hope that you got value from what we had provided you today. If you have a policy, please, and you want it reviewed, like I said, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. If you are in the market for a policy and want to be properly educated, all of us are here for you, and we will provide our information below the video. And as always, we wish you wealth, and we can't wait to see